Welcome to Cubic Farms. This is our first cubic farm located in Pitt Meadows, British Columbia. I want to take you on a virtual tour today. Come on inside. So here at Cubic Farms, we are Global Gap certified. And what we do is we have to wear our hairnet and our beard net to control and reduce any contamination. So the next thing we do, we want to sign in all of our guests that come as well as our workers. And the final thing before we come in is our hand sanitizer. Let's head on in. So welcome inside our facility. Before we get into the machine or touch anything, we want to make sure our hands have gloves on them to reduce any contamination. So welcome to our cubic farm. This is our very first cubic farm installation. We have 11 growing machines, 2 storage units, irrigation system, and central workspace. So you can bring your tables and workspace up at the very front of the machine to do all of your packaging, your seeding, your harvesting, whatever activity you are doing. Let's check out an empty machine. So this is an empty cubic farm. It's 40 feet long, 8 feet wide, and 9.5 feet tall. What we have is 2 rows of chain on either side, which can house over 250 trays growing at any one time. What also we have is a central irrigation reservoir, so we can recirculate and reuse the majority of the water that we are using to grow the product. We have 1 row of light on top, 1 source on both sides, and 1 central air ducting, which releases CO2 and controls the humidity and the temperature as well inside of this cubic farm. Let's check out the rear of the machine. So at the back of each cubic farm, we have 2 motors, 1 on either side, which lift up the trays, which then push the trays to the farmer at the front of the container. We have a back door if you had to access the control panel, and the control panel, which controls the cubic farm system. So at the rear end of each cubic farm machine, we have a central HVAC unit that controls the overall environment inside of each machine. At the rear end of each machine, we have the motor and lifting system, and you'll see this lift each tray very smoothly. So next is our germination machine. This is where we germinate the crop and have a perfect distribution of propagated seedlings. So this machine is laid out identical to every growing machine, but the difference for this one is we use a different tray, which is a thinner spine tray. As well, we have a different watering system. To germinate a perfect crop, you need the perfect watering system. So we have a mechanism down below here that lifts up and waters the underside of each crop here. So for this container, still has 1 row of light, central air ducting. You can control the environment in this system. There's over 250 trays inside of each machine. And as you can see here, each tray with the even distribution of propagated plants, we air prune on the bottom. So we water from the underside, a perfect even distribution of water and nutrients for each tray. With the air pruning and the proprietary watering machine, we can perfectly germinate these crops. We improve the cycle and speed of the growth and improve the overall germination success rate in this machine. We keep it in here for about 2 weeks, and then we manually transplant into the growing machine. So the Cubic Farm growing machine, as you can see here, we can grow amazing lettuce. So similar to the germination machine, we have over 250 trays inside of 1 machine. We have 1 central location for watering as well. Very similar to all the machines, 1 row of light, a central air ducting, and we can control the overall environment inside of this cubic farm. So once it gets watered, the water will travel throughout the whole entire tray. Any excess water goes into our cup on the side and then dumped into our reservoir. This reservoir then recirculates, which we can reuse all of the water that goes into this machine. Through our filtration system, all the water gets fed back to the dosing point. On average, it takes 2 weeks of germination and 3 weeks of growth to grow a large batch of lettuce similar to this size. The benefit of using and operating a cubic farm is we can do everything from the touch of a button. We can change the room temperature, humidity, CO2 levels, the lighting schedules, and we can monitor the entire system from our smartphone device. This is our irrigation system. So we have many drums inside of this container, which then we filter the perfect amount of nutrients and water that feeds to every CubicFarm machine. Each CubicFarm machine consumes about 100 liters of water per day, which we can reuse a lot of that water. For this amount of water, it can feed up to 50 CubicFarm machines. At this CubicFarm, we grow our lettuces, which you just saw, but we're also growing herbs. Tastes delicious and it grows perfectly. Each tray will house roughly 88 plugs. Here at CubicFarms, we are trying and really researching and developing many new crops, especially herbs, to grow worldwide. So for harvesting all of our crops, focusing on lettuce right now, you can set up your workstation right in front of the machine. So as we've mentioned before, all the produce comes to the farmer at the front. So you can set up your tables and assemble your team accordingly to harvest the product. To take out the produce, you simply take the root out like so, and then if you're packaging, you can wrap the roots around the product. And this full head of lettuce is ready to eat. It's a perfect head of lettuce. There's no pesticides, no E. coli. It takes about 1 liter to grow of water in comparison to much more in a farmer's field. And for this head of lettuce, if you want to eat it, all you do is take the root off, and you're ready to eat a whole head of lettuce. So with our CubicFarm, all of our machines are focusing around our central work area. So we have central drainage on multiple sites of this floor. So at the end of the day, you can push all of the water to the drainage and clean up the facility very quickly. So with all of our trays, after you harvest the product or you're gonna reseed the whole container, we wanted to create this cart that can house all of our trays. So this cart can hold over 120 trays at any one time, and you can use this to roll right up to the machine and have this pre-seeded, or the crop is already harvested. We can load this cart, which then can house all of the trays. So this is our container that we keep all of our seeds, packaging, extra lab coats and hairnets, all of our consumables ready to go for our employees and farmers to quickly grab and grow more product. Thank you for joining us today on this tour. We hope you enjoyed this time. We invite you to come see us in person as well. We're here located in Pitt Meadows, British Columbia. We'll see you soon.